Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, today we're going to add a bit of custom decoration to our menu. If we look up the top here, when I hover over my menu items, they've got that little underline underneath. And then when I click on another page, it highlights that page or the active page that we're on. Now it's pretty easy to do. We're going to be using a bit of CSS to do this today, but don't let that put you off. Any CSS I write today I'll put below, and you're welcome to manipulate it and use it however you wish. So let's get started. I'm going to refresh this page and that should disappear. Okay, this is returned to its default state now. I'm using Google Chrome here with a fantastic inspector tool, so I'm going to inspect this and start writing a bit of CSS. Now I can see from this that the menu itself is as deep as this right here. So if I hover over that again, you'll see it's blue there. So I want to give it a fixed height for a start. So let's make it 20 pixels tall, or say 30 pixels tall, let's round it up. So I'm just going to write height 30 pixels, semicolon. If I hover over that again, you can see it's only 30 pixels tall. That's fine for what I want, but I don't want that line there, so I've got to add a bit of space to the bottom. And that looks like about halfway, so let's add another 30 pixels margin to the bottom. We'll say margin bottom 30 pixels. That may be a little bit too much. While we got the box open here, I can just simply highlight the number and roll my mouse down until it fits correctly. You see that line coming up from the bottom there? So 24 pixels should do it. Great. Okay, well this is the top menu, as we can see from over here. So if I actually copy that, it's a CSS ID because it's got a hashtag. So I'll just copy that, Control C to copy. I'm going to go to my dashboard, down to Divi, to theme options. I'm on the General tab. And if we roll down, here's the place for us to put CSS, Custom CSS. I'm going to paste that in there. I'm going to go back. And I'm going to get that code that we wrote. And I'm also going to paste that in there. I'm going to open and close some curly brackets, and within there, that's where I'm going to paste this code. Now I'll save. Now I've saved it. Those changes should be permanent, but we may need to reinforce the height there because it may try and go back to its default state. So let's refresh this now and see what happens. And yeah, it looks to have gone back to its full height. So if we do this, after the 30 pixels there, I'm going to say exclamation mark important. Now save it again. Now let's refresh. And have a look one more time. That's better. It's the right height now. Okay, now we got the menu the way we want it. Let's inspect one of our tags here, one of our links. And if we look down here, it's menu item and it's the anchor tag. So it's the class is menu item and then A. What do we want to do to it? Well, we want to give it padding on the bottom because at the moment you can see it stretching to the bottom of the header there. I only want it to be about here so I can put a bottom border on there. So let's give it some margin on the bottom, or padding I should say, padding bottom, or 5 pixels. If we hover over that again, you can see that it's a lot shorter. Great. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a border on the bottom of this. And for the time being, I'll make it black. And we'll say 3 pixels and solid. Now you can see that up there. That's the border we want. But we only actually want that on the hover state. So what I'm going to do in the non-hover state, I want to leave it there so it takes up the real estate, but I don't want to see it. So I'm going to put, instead of the color in front there, I'm just going to say transparent afterwards. So it's there, but we won't see it. That way when we do our hover one, it won't make the bottom of the header there jump. Okay, well let's get our class, and it's a class of menu item, and it's menu item A. So if I just double click on that, I can copy the menu item. And we must remember it's a class. Let's go back to our custom CSS, drop down a couple. A class always has to have a period or dot in front of it, then the class name. And then we're targeting the anchor tag of that list item class. So we'll put the A in. We'll open and close some curly brackets. And in between, we'll write the code that we just wrote. If I go back on here, there's our code. Simply select it, Control C to copy, and Control V to paste. And again, we may need to force this, and the reason we may need to force it is because we're actually overwriting some default styles here, but we'll try it and see how we get on. Let's save this. And we'll go back to the page and refresh and see if that's going to work. It's really only the height we'll be able to look at because the border itself is transparent. Now let's hover over one. No, that's still really long. So what we've got to do is force this one as well. The margin on the bottom, the padding on the bottom. Important. Now if I save this, that should work perfectly. Let's go down here. Let's refresh the page. And we'll take another look. And there we are. It's the right height there. Fantastic. Just what I wanted. Okay, now we've got that. I'm going to get this blue color of my logo there. I've got a little color picker in my Chrome extensions up here. I'll put it over the color that I want. I'm going to copy that. And I'm just going to paste this in a little notepad, the color, because I'm going to need it in a minute. I'm going to go back to my theme options. I'm going to copy all of this by simply selecting it all. Control C to copy, drop down a couple, and paste it in there. Now, after the A, we only want to see this border when we hover. So after the A right there, with no space, it's A, no space, colon, and then no space again. And the word hover, if you put a space in there, it's not going to work for you. Now I don't need the padding bottom because we're not changing that. But I do need the border bottom 3 pix solid, and I've got to give it that color that I just saved to my little pad over here. So it's a hashtag because it's a hexadecimal color. Control C and paste the code in there. Okay, let's save that and see what we've got now. Refresh our page, get rid of the color picker. There we go. When we hover over those now, they've all got a nice little border underline. Now what also would be quite nice here, can you see that highlighted Supremes there? That's the page that we're on. If I go back to the home page, let's get this one out of the way. See, the home page is highlighted now. Now that's actually set in our theme customizer, header and navigation, primary menu, and that's the active link color. So you can either change it here, or you can change it with a bit of CSS. I'll go ahead and do it with a bit of CSS. All that's going to do is change the actual home link or whatever page you're on, the active link. It's not going to put an underline on it. We kind of want to have an underline over the active page, or it'll be current menu item. So if I select the one that's highlighted there, right click and inspect, we've got current menu item right there. That's the one I want to target. So I'm going to copy that, double click, go in there, copy current menu item, Control C. Let's go back to our customizer. It's a class again, so we need to put a period or dot in front of it. But I want to just target the anchor tag that's underneath of it. So this one, that's the actual word home there. That's the one I want to target. And what do I want to do with it? Well, I want to give it that same border, this one right here. So I can just copy that one. So open and close some curly brackets, bit of space, and paste that one in between. Control V to paste. And I also want to give it the actual link. Oh, I haven't put the A there. We need to put the A on there. There we go. I need to actually give the link that blue color as well. So I want to make the current page that same color blue. So what I'm going to do is, again, we've got to overwrite the default styles. Like I say, you can do this in your color, in your customizer if you want. And I'm just going to copy that color that we've got here, paste it in there, and I'm going to say important because we've got to overwrite the styles that's going on there. Semicolon. Each of your lines of code should have a little semicolon after it. If you don't put one there, it won't read the following line, so make sure you put one there. So if we've done everything correctly, this should actually work for us now. Let's save the changes. Go back to our page, get rid of the inspector right now, refresh. And there we are, our active page has got that underline and it's the correct color, the actual word is the correct color there. When we hover over any of the others, they've got that nice little hover underline. If we select a different page, you'll now see that that page has the underline, as it's the active page. So there you go, guys, that's how to decorate your custom menu with a bit of CSS. Pretty easy to do, but if you don't want to do it, like I say, I'll put all this CSS below this video. You're allowed to, you're welcome to copy it and manipulate it however you wish. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, comment, share, ring the bell, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.